I would like to ask you how BJP has been particularly using Hindu cultural symbols to garner votes during the election campaigning.
That's something that the BJP has done throughout its history. I noticed that Narendra Modi went to a mandir on his way to the district magistrate's office, and that's exactly what I would expect him to do. The BJP is a Hindu nationalist party. What I've been a little bit more disturbed by is some of the campaign rhetoric over the last few weeks, which has given the impression that it's diminishing the standing of India's Muslim minority, and in some ways suggesting that they are not quite as Indian as the majority community. I think that's really very unfortunate.
So, Andrew, which are the states that BJP needs to sit up and take notice of?
Well, we have the end of polling coming up in 3 days' time in the next round in Odisha and Maharashtra. We have the start of polling in Rajasthan and Jharkhand. Rajasthan's going to be quite important for the BJP. They suffered an election defeat there in the state elections in December. It was a fairly close-run call, but they need to claw back some of that vote in Rajasthan. It's a state where they did extremely well 5 years ago. I think it's going to be much more evenly divided this time around between the BJP and Congress.
Right. The BJP and Congress, it's going to be quite a stiff battle, as you rightly pointed out. And for all our viewers who are tuning in, it's been a big day for the Indian Prime Minister as he's finally filed for his nominations from the holy city of Varanasi. Democracy should win the election this season. Prime Minister Modi also mentioned that the entire country this time around is riding on the pro-incumbency wave. It's been a show of strength during the nomination filing, almost setting a trend through all those optics. We've also witnessed a pan-India presence of leaders from Punjab, which had Prakash Singh Badal. It also included Northeast leaders. We had the Shiv Sena Supremo Uddhav Singh Thackeray and NDA colleagues, as we can see, are congratulating the Indian Prime Minister as he's being flanked by some major party leaders, also his NDA partners that include Prakash Singh Badal, Nitish Kumar, Party President Amit Shah and Home Minister Rajnath Singh, accompanied by Shiv Sena Supremo Uddhav Singh Thackeray. There you have it, a full show of strength by the NDA. This is, of course, an important statement being made by the NDA. This is a presence of important leaders in Varanasi, a massive sign of unity of the entire NDA, trying to send a message out there that they have managed to stitch a pre-poll alliance, that this is not just a one-man show dependent solely on Narendra Modi. This is also a display of the alliance strength, that is the NDA. Let me go back to political analyst and former BBC journalist Andrew Whitehead, who's joining us currently from London at this moment. Andrew, we see these live visuals being streamed from Varanasi as we see Narendra Modi flanked by other leaders. Indeed, a major show of strength. And what do you make of the message that he's trying to send out to the opposition at this hour?
I think, as you say, he is demonstrating the BJP has been successful. It's got allies in every corner of the country. It's got Shiv Sena on board in Maharashtra. It's got important allies in southern India, in Tamil Nadu. It's got allies in the northeast. And I think that Amit Shah and Narendra Modi will be hoping that the evident contrast with the paucity of Congress allies will demonstrate that the BJP is leading what they would see as a national alliance of parties, and the Congress has not managed to muster a similar number of pre-poll allies on its own side.
Right. Do you think the presence of Priyanka Gandhi has actually just been reduced to optics, or has it managed to bring that much needed, strength to Congress?
I mean, it certainly gave a boost of adrenaline to the Congress party when Rahul Gandhi announced his sister was going to be in charge of the party in Eastern UP. She's attracted significant crowds when she's been campaigning. She's clearly got a lot more campaigning to do. But this will she, won't she contest in Varanasi? And I really don't think that Congress ever imagined that she would contest, because it's not a seat where Congress has any realistic chance of victory. I think has been a bit of a distraction. You don't want to be suggesting that perhaps Priyanka Gandhi may stand if you're actually going to announce a few days later that she's not going to stand. So I think this was unfortunate, and I think this was perhaps a sign of a lack of political immaturity in the Congress leadership.
Right.
Lack of political maturity.
All right. Mr. Whitehead, also, if you, in retrospect, if you look at Modi's years, do you think there's been a lot of sheen surrounding these years, but a lot still remains in shadow?
I think if you look at the scorecard for the Prime Minister's 5 years in office, there's quite a lot which I think he will have aspired to do, which hasn't yet been fully achieved. And I think if you look at the BJP's manifesto, the first section is on national security, and I think he's got a powerful story to tell on that. I think a story which is going to be attractive to many voters. But when you look at job creation, when you look at what's been happening in rural areas, farmers' incomes, support prices, it's rather less impressive. And these are the areas why I think the BJP is vulnerable. Whether the opposition parties, both Congress and the regional parties, have been able to hone in on this effectively, I think we'll only see when the votes are counted next month.
Do you also think that Pulwama has been reduced to mere rhetoric during election campaigning, because not much of Kashmir's issues have actually been used in a concrete manner to address the woes of the public there?
Well, I think you're right. There has been a great deal of rhetoric, particularly from the BJP, about Pulwama and about the Indian response at Balakot. And it's been much more about we're strong against terrorism, we're strong against our rivals and enemies, rather than any detailed consideration of what's been happening within Kashmir. Kashmir, or at least the internal politics of Kashmir, are hardly ever a key aspect of any Indian election campaign. And I think that's been true once again. So Balakot has been used as a symbol of a determination by Narendra Modi's government not to bow the knee. And I think he's been successful in projecting that. But it's not really been a focus about how the grievances of Kashmiris are addressed, about how militancy is tackled inside Kashmir.
Also, do you think that the BJP's inability to create jobs will actually bring them down or spoil the arithmetic for the BJP?
I think it's going to be a factor, but let's not say that the BJP has been unable to create jobs. It simply has been able to create jobs at the pace which young people in India demand, and which Narendra Modi himself had given the impression that he would be able to do 5 years ago. But I think the lack of job creation and the nature of the jobs which are being created, so not enough jobs for the educated young, I think that will be something which erodes the BJP's support, particularly in some parts of the country.
Also, what are the tasks for the new government that you see ahead? Because from economic growth to creating jobs or tackling farmer crisis, what are the tasks that you see that lie ahead? Well,
I think, economic growth is one. India's economic growth is much higher than of any major economy in the world. But in Indian terms, it's disappointing and it's not as high as the government would wish it to be. I think there needs to be much more concerted action to address the issues in rural areas. One of the things that we have seen in this election campaign is a real focus on rural distress and what's happening with farmers' incomes. You've seen almost a bidding war between the Congress and the BJP in terms of coming up with minimum income support.